welcome everybody here to Citizen Space. We are hosting the event here with NDS and the hackathon. Thank everybody for showing up. When I say we, my name is James Hines. I'm the manager here. This is Toby Warney. He is also manager operator here. And Citizen Space is a co-working facility that's focused on next generation ideas and idea people. This evening, this hackathon, which is going to be a 3-day event around the theme Code for TV, and I'm going to let these guys over here tell you a little bit about what that's about. But it's really based around this really incredible piece of software API call that's by a company called NDS, and they have an incredible lab where they come up with all kind of cool stuff. And they said, let's just let the stuff in the lab go seep out to the world, see what happens. And this gentleman with the thumb up says, I need to raise my voice level up higher, so I'll just talk a little deeper. Is this voice better? Yeah, that's that one. Okay, very well. But back to, thank you, James. So what's going on is we expect you guys to come here and just figure out what next generation television is going to be about. Whether it's for the user side, the broadcaster side, the advertiser side, the TV operator side, or selling stuff on whatever it is. Without further ado, I'm going to do some introductions to the persons from NDS. I'm going to start first with their spokesperson. That would be James Field. James.
Thanks, James. Here we go. I'm not quite so deep, but I'm working on it. So thanks for coming, everybody. As James said, NDS's mission is to change the way the world is entertained and informed. And I hope tonight and the next couple of days, some of you guys, I'm sure all of you in fact, have some great ideas about how TV and its consumption can be changed. As James said, we can give you some information. We've got mentors here. I've got my colleague Andrew Zambler-Carhart and my colleague Tony Lee, who's hiding over there. Okay. So we've got the talent here to help you get a grip of our APIs. We'll run a little masterclass tomorrow, and Andrew's going to give you a little introduction about some of the things we've been playing with that can make TV just better. And I really look forward to seeing what you guys are coming out with at the end of the weekend. We've got some great judges from Comcast and from the world's leading kind of authority on interactive TV coming in on Sunday. We've got some great prizes, including potentially the chance to showcase in front of some of the world's largest operators your idea. So this is an amazing opportunity. So without further ado, we're not going to give you heavy code on the screen now. We might be a little bit, but there is code to be seen. So I'll hand over to Andrew, who'll give you an idea about some of the things you can do.
All right, thanks, James. Okay, so what is the service delivery platform? There's that. I'm Andrew Carhart. That's my email address. I've got some business cards here if you want to pick that up. So James has talked briefly about what NDS does. We write the software that goes into the cable and satellite set-top boxes for lots of different TV platforms around the world. We use the word platform to refer to one operator of a cable or satellite service. Now, as an app developer, it's really difficult to write an app that connects to a set-top box because... Is this mic necessary if I shout? Is that
I think...
What's that?
Keep the mic needed.
Keep the mic back. Mic's back. So the question is, why do we need a service like SDP? Basically, if you're an app developer, there's thousands of apps and there's hundreds of TV platforms. And if you're an app developer and you want to connect to a TV platform like Fox or Comcast or whatnot, you'd have to go knock on their door and say, hey, do you have an API? Sometimes they have one app that runs in their platform. Sometimes they might have an API, but if you're an app developer, you'd have to support each API for a bunch of different TV platforms. So basically, in the internet world, it's kind of hard to understand what's going on in the world of television platforms. And the TV people really don't get app developers either. They don't really know what services they would need to provide. So basically what we've got is the service delivery platform here in the middle, where as an app developer, you can code an app just to one API, And then we have an API for the platforms as well, so they only have to hook it up to their servers, which we call a head end, one time also. And then you can have all of these connect to all of those. So that's the basic idea. So I'll give you a little example of how it works. Now, in terms of kind of things you can do, an app can see what content you're watching, what show or film you're watching. And beyond that, there are some apps that can kind of see what you're watching by doing some audio fingerprinting and such, but they don't really have a real connection to the set-top box. For example, they can't change channel or jump to a different show or record a show on the PVR, for example. So let's just take an example of changing channel on your set-top box. Now, you could change channel using either an app on a device like a iPhone or iPad, or using the remote control in the set-top box. So here's remote control, for example. Now, if you, I can never figure out remote controls like this. I prefer the simple kind like this. If you change channel using an app, here you see we have a list of channels. You can just tap one. This is an app here that's part of our sample codes. So we'll actually show you how to build an app that does this in about 40 lines of code. It's really quite straightforward. So if you tap an app, then it sends a message to the SDP server, which is hosted in the cloud. And then that sends a message down to the set-top box saying, please change the channel. Now, if you do that, or if you change channel on the set-top box using the remote control itself, then it sends a message up to the SDP server in the cloud, which says, I have changed channel. Here's the new channel, here's the new show. And then that will push a message down to your other devices so that they can update. So here, if we've got a list of channels, it would select a different channel. And here, if we have an app, I'll show you in a few minutes, that shows the website for the show that you're watching, then it will select a different channel and then update the website for the show that you've just tuned to. So I'm going to talk a bit about the resources that we have available for you. We've partnered with Apogee. Gentleman right here. Tell me your name again? Martin. Martin? Right here. Okay, so what Apogee provides to us and what they enable us to provide to you is a developer portal that has a lot of resources that you can use to find out about the API. So for example, first I should point out the URL, which I've written on the board over here. It's developer.sdp.nds.com. So if you don't already have an account, you can
Tony will set one up.
click this big button right here that says register. And then it has to be manually approved, but fortunately our Tony over here is busy doing that right now. So you are very privileged to have that service right here, more or less instantly. So basically, you can come here and register an app, and that means that each app has a unique ID and then has certain information about it. So you can have one app, you can have several apps. For example, here I have a bunch of different apps. Each of them has a key, and then I can set up information about them. You can also do some statistics. So for example, this shows how many requests each of my apps is using, for example. And that's all powered by Apogee. We didn't really have to do a whole heck of a lot for that to happen. We wouldn't have known how to do it if we tried. So. We also have a way that you can try out the API right there in the developer portal website. It's called our API console. So basically, we have a list of things that you can do with the API. You can control your television, see what's on. There are some APIs that are specific to the set-top box, and there are some that are specific to the platform in general. For example, the schedule information, information about shows and movies, information about actors, that kind of thing, how they're all connected. So there are sort of different categories of the API. You can work with the planner in your set-top box if it has a hard disk, etc. So using this interface, you can actually try out, you can click on an API that you want to try, and then click get right there, and then you'll actually see the API being called and the XML response that's returned. Now, one of the problems of having an API that allows you to connect to television set-top boxes around the world is that you probably don't have set-top boxes from around the world on your desk. So for example, we came over here with a set-top box from Sky in the United Kingdom and had a bit of a issue with some voltage converters and the refresh rate not being the same, so we're using an analog connection, which is why it's in black and white and looks like a TV from the 50s. So I apologize for the video quality there. Normally it's better. Certainly had a problem with the satellite reception because the signal is pointing at the UK. So we don't expect you to have a set-top box from every platform that STP works with. So what we have is a soft box. It's a virtual set-top box. Now, more or less in general, it doesn't actually display video, but what it is it's a picture of a set-top box with a remote control, and it represents the state of the set-top box. That basically means what channel are you watching and what show is on that channel right now. So you can use the remote control here to change channels and see the results in an app, or use an app to change channels and see the results here in the softbox. The developer portal also has a lot of sample code that you can use and some documentation. So it's here on this page. Just briefly, we have some sample code for various platforms. If you want to write code for the Mac or iOS, including the iPhone or the iPad, we have some frameworks and sample apps. If you want to write a web app using PHP and JavaScript, we also have some sample code for that. The screenshot here says our code for Android is coming soon, but that's been posted on a developer portal as well, so that's code in Java. We have some documentation on the API that covers everything that it can do, all of the URLs, all the XML, etc. We also have some tutorials here for both iOS and the web, and those are step-by-step guides that basically take you through, you know, if you're half asleep, not paying attention, you haven't done this before, you can just follow exactly the steps in those guides to create a fully functioning app. And we have a couple demos that we can show. I'm going to need to juggle a couple different things like a microphone, a remote control, and an iPad, but okay, so Andrew's got an app here called Heads Up.
Can we push our video from our app to the TV? Do you have any channel available on that, or?
That's kind of a different thing. We have a lot of ideas that we'd like to do. What we're targeting is the most common use cases in terms of
I mean, if you're trying to do something like AirPlay or something like that, it's not designed to do. It's really to enhance what's currently there and look in the schedule. So here, the app that Andrew's about to show, well, basically it will pull up when you're passively watching TV. I mean, I don't know about you, but when I want to watch TV, I just sit there and zone out most of the time and just see what's on. But having your iPad, you'll see he'll be mirroring the iPad on the large screen on the right-hand side, which if you've got a pillar in front of you could be an issue. But basically, the app will pull up automatically, depending on what you're watching on TV, it will automatically pull up stuff that you might be interested in watching, whether that's IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes.
So you really like us to develop some ad and then let the consumer watch real TV, not internet TV.
Or it could work the other way. You could be shown something that's on the internet on your iPad whilst you're watching TV. But the average teenager today apparently watches 25 hours of TV a day. I don't know how they do that. Right?
we checked.
25 hours of media per day because they're watching on multiple screens at the same time. So there's no
Wow.
So for this demo, let me just go over what we've got and where. That's a set-top box. It's from the UK, but we've dragged it over here. And then that's a TV showing the signal from the.
We're watching a bit of
set-top
Glee
box.
in black and white there, I think.
Yes. What I have right here is an iPad that's running an application called Heads Up. And it's kind of like it provides a heads-up display for more information about what it is that you're watching. So the most simple use case is that it shows the home page for the show that you're currently watching. So I don't know if you guys can see through that column, but there's a TV over there that's showing the same signal, same screen that I've got here on my iPad. So if you can't quite see that, you might see if you can move or.
Basically, he's got the Gleek website on the iPad. It's mirrored on the TV over there, so you can look on the iPad here or over here.
Yep. So in the simplest case, I can change channels with the remote control from the television, and that jumps to Black Swan. So the app updates to show the home page for Black Swan instead. I could also not just show the home page, but also content from Facebook, Google Images, IMDb, lots of other sites. So for example, I could just tap on Google Images, and then I would see pictures from that movie. Now, so that's the use case where I use the remote control, and then the app updates to reflect what I've done. But I also don't really need the remote control. I can use the iPad itself to get a little list of channels and tap a different channel. And I've just tapped on a channel and burn notice has come up. Or I could tap a different one and.
You got an instant search on Google Images there, so you've got everything.
Now, what's actually happening is that there's not a direct connection between the iPad and the set-top box. It's actually going via our cloud. It's going via Apogee, provide a gateway. So basically, the app connects to Apogee, which is co-located close to our to the SDP server, which is hosted by Amazon, and then that pushes a message to the servers of the television platform that send the message down to the set-top box. Now that sounds complicated, and it's going halfway around the world. If I tap there like that, you see how fast it updates. I mean, that's completely usable.
But in mainland China, there's no Amazon.
Well, there's the Great Firewall of China, but we could put in servers in the CCTV. One of our customers would put them in their head end.
Well, but in FG has a server in China too right now.
But this is in the cloud, so the cloud is accessible from China. So
We have a lot of developers in China who are very excited about this right now. We're
Yeah.
working with them.
there's actually a cable show in China, CCBN, running. It was actually last week. I was showing this there as well. So.
And this app works in Chinese as well. Actually, if you see I've got this list here of different websites. If I run it in Chinese, I get a different list of websites like Sina Weibo and other
Red Red,
Chinese-specific sites, Baidu, etc.
So what, it's actually connected to the set-top box, is that a satellite or cable, or is?
We can work with anybody. The one we're showing here is from a satellite provider in the UK, but we work with all the MSOs here in the US, and this is new. I mean, this is not. It's coming out right now. We have several providers in the US, and Europe who are deploying this. So that's the opportunity.
Of course, so what about the IP and the licensing? What are the issues around that?
Well, it depends on the application you're providing. If you're just finding out what people are watching, we license all the metadata here. So any metadata you pull out for our APIs, we're actually serving that. We have licenses for that metadata. It's not being scraped.
All right, thank you.
Can you give us Nielsen so they can help their ratings?
Hopefully not.
I could talk for hours about Nielsen. I don't know if we've got anyone from Nielsen here. I know we've invited a few people. Anyway, let's be honest. This is a good example of a kind of, you can be passive, you can be active, you can drive the TV can drive your app. Very much a kind of interactive space.
Do you guys have, you just mentioned Nielsen, do you guys have any kind of analytics platform for this?
Yeah, Andrew briefly showed a slide there with Apogee provide full capture of every key press, I guess, that goes through the system. We can see which channels people are watching, how long they're watching them for, So, and to be frank with you, that's one of the values we're seeing here from the system, is that we can derive useful analytics from it. So I don't know, we've got other examples we could show you, but I guess you're probably quite hungry.
Well, we're gonna help with the hungry. We got some great Caribbean food.
Alright, I've got
He's got one